We just got back from Carnival's brand new Celebration Key. I have put together my first impressions. I have answers to your questions, and I'm going to be sharing with you the tips that you need to know to plan and make the most out of your day. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, we just got back last night from an 8-day cruise on board Carnival Vista, where we were among the first guests to visit Carnival's new exclusive destination, Celebration Key. Now, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts and first impressions. I've been saving all of the questions that people have had, so I'm going to be answering those questions as well. I'm going to be sharing with you what's included and what's extra, what I think might be worth it, and even how you can plan your day if you want to without spending any extra money at all. Now, just to mention, we were hosted by Carnival on our cruise and for our day in Celebration Key. However, all opinions are my own. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Okay, so first, a few fun facts about Celebration Key. Now, Celebration Key is on Grand Bahama Island, and it's located about 30 minutes away from Freeport. As our cruise ship pulled up to Celebration Key, it was actually quite impressive. It really is much larger than I expected. Now, the actual area of Celebration Key is 379 acres. However, phase 1, which is the open area that you see right now, is 68 acres. Now, there is a future expansion area of 154 acres and a wetlands preserve. You can actually see it from the cruise ship, of 110 acres. Now, the island is divided up into 5 portals or zones, if you will. And I do suggest knowing where you might want to hang out before you get off the ship. You have 2 super large freshwater lagoons. Honestly, much bigger than I had expected. They hold 350 million gallons of water, and they are 275,000 square feet. And honestly, even though I read the stats before I got off on the island, actually walking around everywhere gives you a sense of how big this space is. Now, something that's really cool, and especially I guess because Celebration Key is so big, is whether you're a family and you want to have some family time with young children and maybe spend some time at the splash park, or maybe you're an adult and you want like that party vibe with a DJ, you're going to have that. And if you want to spend time at like a pristine beach, you have that as well. And even if you want a more like luxurious upscale feel, and there is an additional charge for this, but there is the adult only Pearl Cove Beach Club. Now, don't worry, we are going to be talking about what's included and not included, about the dining, because there are definitely some things that could be a little bit confusing when it comes to the dining. At least it was a little bit for me, and the drinks. But first, I did want to talk about, is Celebration Key a private island, and what we all need to know so that we can adjust our expectations before we go. So Celebration Key is not a cruise line private island, at least not in the way that we're used to thinking about private islands, where the cruise ship would bring the food off the cruise ship to make a big buffet, and maybe the crew from the cruise ship would get off and serve everybody. It really is very different, because what Carnival's done is they've actually established a partnership with the Bahamas, and the people of Freeport are actually working there. So it is pretty cool. Approximately 1,200 local people are employed and work at Celebration Key. And the food that you have available from the food trucks or the restaurants, that is actually local food. So it really tastes quite different from what you're already eating on the cruise ship. Okay, so let's talk about what's included and what's not included and get into some of your questions. So firstly, what is included? Lounge chairs, really nice lounge chairs, by the way, and umbrellas. They are included both around the lagoon pools, and there are several different areas or portals, so they're each going to have a little bit of a different vibe. Those are included, as well as your umbrellas and your lounge chairs at the beaches. Now, is there a cost for the water slides? Yes, there are 2 water slides, and the cost is just under $15. Now, I do have a little tip for you. If you think that your children might want to do the water slides for the day, I would definitely purchase this in advance, because the water slides, just like the cabanas, they actually were quite popular, at least on the day that we were there. And my understanding is they can sell out. Are the pools free, and is there a splash pad for younger kids. So yes, the use of the pools, except for one, the use of the pools is all free or included, and there is a splash pad for young children. Are there adult only areas, and is there a cost? Now, my understanding is there's one that does have an extra cost. I'm going to share that one in a minute. And the other one at the Calypso Lagoon area, that is included. Now, the Calypso one, there is a DJ. It was definitely fun vibes. There is a swim up bar, and I think there's something like 160 seats there. There were some small tables. It was definitely a vibe. So if that is what you enjoy, you definitely will enjoy that. Now, the other adult only area is quieter. It's more upscale. It definitely is. It's a beach club, and it is really nice. That is the Pearl Cove Beach Club. Now, the entry fee, if I'm not mistaken, is about $99 to go into the Pearl Cove Beach Club. Gorgeous chairs and umbrellas, and there is a stunning infinity pool. Now, access to Pearl Cove Beach Club at the time that I'm filming this is $99 per person. Now, if you want to do something more inclusive, they have access, which includes a beverage package for $139. And if you want to do an all-inclusive package with your access, your drinks, as well as an upgraded premium lunch, that is $179. Now, in my opinion, this could really be worth it if you think of it a little bit like doing an excursion. So if that is something that you want to do, I think this can definitely be worth it. And just to let you know, there are optional day beds, cabanas, and villas that can accommodate, in the case of the villas, like I think it's about 10 or 12 people. The pricing starts at about $300 and it goes all the way upwards of $2,700. Now, I just had to put that out there because I know that everybody's budget is different and everybody's ideal of how they want to spend the day is different as well. Okay, so now let's talk about dining and drinks. And by the way, one of the questions that I had is, can you spend your day at Celebration Key without spending any money? So yes, you can, and I will tell you how. Okay, so first let's talk about the dining, and I will share with you where I may have found the best casual dining on the island. Now, I didn't try everything, so you let me know if you've been there so far. You let me know where you think the best casual dining is. But so the way it works on Celebration Key is there are several food trucks and there are some restaurants as well. But the food trucks actually have casual dining, and every person that gets off their Carnival cruise ship is entitled to have one casual meal per person. And basically what you're going to have is on your sail and sign card, you're going to have a credit. Now, there are little kiosks that are next to the food trucks, and that is where you're going to order your food. And you're going to notice that when you put your sail and sign card there, it is going to show $0 as you have a credit. Now, something that surprised me, and this is something that I do think everybody should research before you go, is there are several food trucks, but they're actually located in different areas or portals of Celebration Key. Now, what we decided to do is I went looking for the tacos, and that was in the Calypso area, and I ended up ordering fish tacos. This was really good. And I know a lot of people have questions about the portions, and I do think that this meal was a good sized portion. Now, just to let you know, in my soft flour tortilla, I had 2 pieces of fish in each tortilla. So in my opinion, it was even enough for like 2 people, depending on how much you eat. But I know my son said, no, it's not enough for 2 people. It would be enough for 1, but it was really very tasty. So I definitely recommend that. However, I'll be honest, I watched some different videos and I spoke to some people on the island, and it does seem like depending on what you're getting, sometimes the portions are bigger and sometimes they're a little bit smaller. So one thing that I would say is I heard that the chicken nugget meal only includes 4 chicken nuggets. I don't know if this is always going to be the case, but I would definitely take a look before you order, either by watching these videos from other people or even taking a look when you're on the island of other people's meals, and just make sure that the meal is right for you. Now, by the way, your free or included meal includes your main dish, but it also does include a cookie. Now, what it doesn't include is a drink. So if you want a drink, that is an additional charge, but they do have water and ice machines in the area. Now, I do have some thoughts about the drinks as well as the service, and I will share that with you just a little later on in the video. Now, for anybody that wants extra food or different food, you can definitely do that as well. So just to let you know, there are some sit-down restaurants, and I would say the prices are comparable, to if you went to, St. Thomas or something and you went to a restaurant. So the pricing was anywhere from like $12 to $17 for a meal, but you can get 25% off at a sit-down restaurant if that is something that you want to do. And otherwise, if you decide to order additional food from the food trucks, there were varying prices, but I would say on average for like a main meal, it was somewhere around $12 to $13. Accessibility. So is there any transportation to go around the island if you have some difficulty walking? So yes, there are trams that can take people from the cruise ship to the different portals of the island. However, something to note is I believe there are 4 different trams. So something that was pointed out, I think it was by John Heald, Carnival ambassador, is you can definitely take the tram, but these are really meant so that people who do have some difficulty walking, so that they have access to them. So anyway, that's just something to put out there. However, the island is accessible if you do have a scooter. I know a lot of people were wondering about that. So they do have nice wide paved pathways. Now they also have accessible beach wheelchairs that are available on a first come first serve basis. And by the way, these are free of charge. And these are designed to use on sand or uneven terrain, allowing guests with limited mobility to enjoy the lagoons and beaches. The Family Starfish and Calypso Lagoon are designed in a way that they have zero or gentle slope entries, making them easier for people with mobility limitations. And there are also ramps or gentle slopes leading up to the dining areas and restrooms. Do they have shops at Celebration Key? So yes, you can shop at Celebration Key. There's an area that is called Lacono Cove, and this is basically your shopping district, and you have all sorts of shops there that sell local crafts and goods, t-shirts and souvenirs. Now they also, as probably expected, have an Effie. I did go in, it's quite a nice store, but they have a beautiful Celebration Key collection. Truthfully, I absolutely loved the jewelry and the colors. Does your cruise ship Wi-Fi work on Celebration Key? So unfortunately, no. Your cruise ship Wi-Fi will not work on Celebration Key. And I guess this is another way that this is not like some of the cruise line private islands. So you do have to plan accordingly. Are there a lot of beach chairs? So yes, there are a lot of beach chairs, and as well, you have a lot of lounge chairs that you could use around the pools as well. I actually found this to be much more plentiful than I thought, but we were only 1 cruise ship in port. So that was another question. How many cruise ships can dock at once? So for right now, it is 1 cruise ship at a time, but I think within 2 or 3 weeks, we were told there are going to be 2 cruise ships at a time. Now, some people asked, are other cruise ships like out of the Carnival family, for instance, Princess and Holland America, are they going to dock at Celebration Key? So it looks like no, at least for now. It doesn't seem like that is going to be the case. Now, keep in mind, this is only phase 1 of Celebration Key. So, and I'm not starting any rumors, I don't know. But we're only at phase 1. And right now, I think they've got about like 20 cruise ships that are going to be heading there. And they're going to have cruise ships like every day. But you never know what the future may hold. Now, I am curious, if you are a Princess cruiser or if you're a Holland America cruiser, would you like to be able to go to Celebration Key? Please let me know down in the comments below. Now, I do want to share my specific thoughts on a couple of things, including one thing that I actually think could be improved. And you never know, right? Like Carnival, they've started off this way. There are always going to be some things that they may adjust. So I do have a little bit of a suggestion. But first, the question that some people had is there a way to go to Celebration Key and not spend any additional money? So yes, I think there absolutely is, or maybe minimal money. And I will tell you how I probably would have done this when my kids were younger or teenagers. So firstly, I do think that plan ahead, make sure that you have a good breakfast before getting off the cruise ship. Now, I also suggest that you bring a refillable water bottle, and you can even fill it up on the cruise ship before you go. Maybe fill it up with some lemonade or something like that. and bring that with you for your day. Now, everybody gets a free casual lunch, so whether that's a burger or fish tacos like me, or a steak sub. So you've got your lunch covered and you've got a cookie as a dessert. Now, if you've headed out to the island early, so as an example, if you've headed out there at around 9 o'clock and maybe you eat lunch at around 12, I don't know about you, but typically by about 2 or 3 o'clock, I've had enough of a long day that I'm heading back to the cruise ship. And that would normally be enough food for me. But if you've got teenagers with you, you know what? Maybe around 1 o'clock, send them back to the cruise ship. Let them eat a guy's burger or something else, and then have them come back onto the island the way you might do in other cruise ports of call. Now, keep in mind that your lounge chairs and your umbrella are included. And that's different from, if you went to the beach, as an example, in St. Thomas or St. Martin, you would have to pay for that. So this is something included. Now, if you think that anybody wants to snorkel, bring your snorkel gear from home and snorkel at the beach. Now, there is a basketball court and other sport areas on the island. And by the way, those are included as well. But of course, there are these super large lagoon pools. So you, your kids, adults, everybody can enjoy that. And if you have any young children, there is also a splash park that is there, and that is included or free. Now, the one thing that I do think could be worth it, so I would probably budget for it if you have children, are the water slides. They are about $15 per person. And I do think it makes a little bit of sense. I know it would be great if it was included, but the fact is it would probably be busier if it was. So $15 for a day of going up and down on water slides is a pretty good deal. Now, I do have a few more Celebration Key planning tips that I think can be helpful. But first, I did want to share with you my thoughts, what I really loved, and, the couple of things that I think maybe could be improved. So firstly, Celebration Key was genuinely very impressive. It was so much bigger than we expected, bigger than it looks like on pamphlets. I think even bigger than it looks like in other people's videos that I've seen so far. This is very large. If you want to be able to see the whole thing, you'll spend a couple of hours exploring. So you don't necessarily want to do that. Choose a couple of areas to stay in that you enjoy. And I do have a little bit of a tip also. Don't necessarily stop at the first lagoon or pool that you see. Walk further because it is going to be less crowded. Now, something else that I really love is there are about 1,200 local Bahamians that are employed there. And it is pretty interesting because Freeport, from what I understand, they were quite ravaged just a few years ago from, I think it was Hurricane Dorian. So a lot of the people had left the island, and they've been able to now return home, and it really does give work and other business opportunities for people. So I think that is something really nice. Now, the lounge chairs and the umbrellas, honestly, it is such a nice aesthetic. Even when I showed my son Ethan some of the videos, he was surprised at, the different lounge chairs and even the fact that they were included and the umbrellas. It really is nice looking and impressive. Now, when it comes to the food and the food trucks, I'll tell you something that surprised me, and I don't know why I thought this would be the case, but it's just something maybe that you'll want to be aware of, is that the food trucks are not all in the same location. I sort of thought it would be a little bit like if you go to a food court at the mall and, everything's in the same area, or you go to a fair and there's food trucks all around. So there aren't. So you really do have to do a little bit of planning for that. And the other thing is just in terms of the portions, some of the portions seem to be bigger than others depending on the food truck that you're at. So again, I think that people have to plan accordingly, but I do hope that maybe Carnival will just adjust that if they see that people do need a little bit more nuggets or a little bit more fries or something like that, just to have some consistency so people feel that what they are getting is substantial. All right, so now let's talk about the drinks. So on Celebration Key, your beverage package does not work. And the price of the drinks, I would say, are comparable to if you would go to a bar, at any island. And I will say I had the watermelon mojito, and oh my goodness, this was very good. So I think it was about $14. I definitely think this was worth it. But the included drinks. Now, the only included drink that we saw was water and ice to make ice water. And this is maybe the only thing that I think would be nice is if there was lemonade or iced tea or, sort of a juice or punch. I do think it would be nice to have a little bit more variety in terms of what is included for people. Or even alternatively, a non-alcoholic package that people can purchase for unlimited soft drinks or other types of drinks they may want while on the island. Okay, some planning tips for Celebration Key and some things to pack. Now, one thing that we noticed is the pool where we were actually closed at 4:30, even though we had to get back on the cruise ship at 5:30. So a full hour before getting back on the cruise ship. And I imagine they just want to make sure that everybody does have time to get back. So again, just plan accordingly. Don't leave going in the pool for like 4:15 or something like that. Do that early. Now make sure to pack a sun hat. I forgot one. I would have been better off to have one. And also don't forget to pack your sunscreen. Now I'd love to hear from you. Are you planning to go to Celebration Key? Let me know when down in the comments below, and let me know any questions that you have. And if you've been to Celebration Key already, please share your tips so we can make this video a resource for other people. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Bye for now and happy cruising.